Okay, the recording is going and the floor is yours, Chief Reed.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'd like to bring the ICC Fire Service Membership Council Thursday, December 15th meeting to order. Carl, can you please do a roll call?
Sure. Chief Reed, I've got you. Vice Chair Diehl, I've got you. Brian Adams is questionable today. I don't see him yet. He says he's got a $4+ million lost fire he's investigating today, so he will likely not join us. Rick Boisford, I see you. Michael Desrochers, have you joined us yet? Gary Farley. Chief Hyde, I've got you. Andy King, are you on? Chief Lane, I've got you. Marshall Lund, I've got you. Chief Medina, Marshall Nelson, Steve Swarthout, I've got you. Mark Wassom, Chief Wassom, I've got you. And I don't think there's anybody else that I missed. I see Chief Metz is on, and then I just see Director Applegate joined us. There might be a couple others. But yeah, I believe we have a quorum.
Great, thank you very much. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none, we have Carl sent out the minutes to the November 17th meeting. I'm looking to approve those minutes, so I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve. Doug Nelson.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. All right. Thank you. Well, let's just do it formally. Any opposed? Great. All right. Minutes are approved. Thank you very much. Going into the work group updates, we don't have Brian Adams. Carl, do you happen to have, I just see Michael Desrochers just came in, Carl, FYI. Do we have any update on member engagement? Were you able to talk to Brian?
I don't have anything from Brian, no.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Okay, emerging issues and trends. Welcome, Michael. Sorry, you just came on and now we're going right to you. If you have any report from your work group.
Yeah, we met on Monday. We continue to hold our monthly meetings. The turnout was not as large as it normally is, but our next meeting will be squaring away our 2023 goals. And so that's going to set our pace for the next calendar year here. So we would encourage anybody to jump on our next emerging issue and trends work group meeting. And we would appreciate any input that you feel can help us move our goals forward. So that's all I have to report out on right now.
All right, thank you very much. Public awareness work group, Steve.
Hi, nothing really to update anybody on. We did meet this last month. We will be working with Mike and his group first thing next year to determine some of our work on some of our goals and get those going too. And that's about it for us.
Great, thank you very much. Training and education, Mark.
Hey, Christine, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me? We can hear you.
There we go. Sorry about that. I was
That's
just
okay.
switching from my phone to the computer.
Perfect
Come back to
timing.
my office. My apologies. I don't really have much of an update. Schedules prevented us from having a full group meeting of late, but I will say we were intending to have a joint webinar this week with our group and the Global Membership Council. The week ended up getting busy, and our panelists, we had trouble getting everybody together. So that's been rescheduled, I believe, for January 17th. So more info will come out to the committee on that, or the the membership council. As soon as that's made official, I'll send it out, and all will be welcome. We're talking about energy storage and the code and fire service challenges with that. So more to come. Watch for that in the next week or so. And otherwise, we'll get the group together early in January to talk about our 2023 goals and go from there.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. All right, going to the next item, reports from officers and liaisons. Our board liaison, Director Metz. Do you have a report for us?
Good morning, Chief Reed.
Morning.
So, yes, I do. Forgive me for my voice. I've picked up the flu or something back in Colorado last week with the board. So I've been working from home this week and haven't had a chance to catch up on a lot of things, but we did do some actions last week at the board meeting that would be of interest of this group. First of all, we did approve our budget for the upcoming year, and included in that budget was funding 2 in-person membership council meetings for the upcoming year. That has been a issue both last year and this year with the current budget allocation, where there was an agenda item that wanted to change charters this year and switch to a 1 in-person membership council meeting being funded through our budget. And we had a lot of discussion on that as a board, and the board overwhelmingly rejected that proposal at this point in time. So we are keeping the 2 in-person meetings. But I do expect, some further evaluation to continue, and we really need to shore up membership councils, the charters, their goals and objectives and directions across the board. So it's not just fire service, it's all membership councils. When you look at all of the annual reports that were presented, fire service remains one of the more active membership council groups, with the number of meetings held, the number of participants, which is great. Not all of our membership councils have the same level of input, activity, and enthusiasm. So we're trying to find a medium that works for everybody. And one of the issues that was slightly discussed and has before in the past as well is the desire to view and utilize the membership councils as advisory committees to the board. And when you look at the membership council page, that actually is what they're intended to be for. I told you when I was chair of this membership council, and now as a board member, I don't necessarily feel that we are usually using you guys as truly advisory committees to the board, which I expect to change. I expect to see some further study and activity. I don't know if that's going to come out of a directive from President Which or further direction to ICC staff to look at this issue here. But one thing that I'm going to recommend that you all do, and we've done this a little bit before in the past, is pick a topic that's of interest to us. This time here, I'm going to recommend that you guys pick a topic that is a hot button issue and prepare a mini white paper and present it to the board. That's been one of the biggest issues that the board has felt, is that we see very little work product. We did meet and present one of our training guideline brochures, our info bulletins, whatever we were calling them a couple years ago, to the board, and they were very impressed at the time. We haven't brought anything back since then as far as additional items that we prepared. And I think that's where the board sees value in membership councils, is where they see us pushing information out to the membership. In this case here, I think that there's enough items, and I'll throw one out there, you know, concerns and issues over lithium-ion batteries, electric scooters, electric bicycles, charging related issues that, you know, as we push resiliency, as we push green related issues throughout the entire board, that does come with some concerns. Excuse me. And I think that the fire service is the place to identify the opposite side of the story on some of those green narratives that we you know, feel so strongly about and want to push, to make sure we don't lose sight of the cons and simply look at the pros on some of these issues as it relates to energy, being green, etc. I think that there's enough information out there where you know, the membership council as a governing committee or extended to the members itself could prepare a brief report advising the board of issues and concerns that we should be aware of. Not everybody on the board has a fire service background. In fact, very few people have a fire service background. But I don't necessarily know that everybody on the board is in the know on some of those other issues that we see with emergency response in these particular types of areas there. That is a narrative that I think needs to be presented to the board as we continue to make decisions on where we go with certain codes and standards. I think that if you guys proactively take up an issue like this and say, hey, we know the board hasn't asked us to advise them, but we feel strongly that there's an issue that we want to advise the board on, and present a paper in that area, you know, work with Carl to present that paper at a future board meeting. That's the type of things that will keep membership councils moving forward in the right direction, will keep them fully funded, and will really drive home the importance and need to the board of directors that you guys are speaking for the membership. And I do believe that you'll see more discussion after the first of the year. Myself and one other director have committed to bringing an agenda item in the spring specific to membership councils. If we don't see something specific to membership councils coming out in the meantime, where we want to you know, meet with you guys, include you guys in the process. This is not something that, in my personal opinion, staff should be doing on their own. I think that we need to listen to the membership councils, hear your concerns, the same way we talked about back in Louisville. The coalition that has been built between all the membership councils, listen to ideas, and then you know, chart a new path for membership councils, whether that requires changes to charters, whether that just requires us to provide additional direction to membership councils, so be it. But I think that some of this stuff could definitely be moved forward by the membership councils themselves. And I'm kind of preaching to the choir, because membership council or fire service is, again, one of the more active with some organized subcommittees that are doing great work. You guys are not the norm. You know, we literally have a couple of membership councils that are struggling to find a purpose and are waiting for some direction. And you guys are all leaders. You guys are all leaders, not only in the fire service, but within ICC. And I think that you guys have enough on your plate right now of what we're dealing with emerging issues, that you definitely could pick an item. It doesn't have to be an intense research study. It could be a gathering of information, organizing the information, and making a recommendation at that point for additional study if that's what it's needed, or to advise building code action committee or fire code action committee on issues and concerns that you guys have on a specific issue. There are lots of different ways to share this information to get wheels moving in certain areas and let it start from FSMC. So just wanted to reassure everybody that membership councils are still being discussed by the board. You still have support from the board, and we look forward to continuing to work with you guys on seeing any changes to those in the future there. In addition to that, we did formally approve the new code development structure that has been talked about for the last year with 2 committee action hearings. We had to wait till we were finished completely with Group B this year before we can make changes to CP 28, which is our council policy that governs code development. Those changes were voted on by the board, and starting in 2024, when our next Group A code cycle occurs, we will have 2 committee action hearings in Group A, 2 committee action hearings in Group B, and then public comment hearings in Group C for all codes. A lot of discussion was had around some of the international travel that members of the board have done. We were present over with a water contingency in Israel, looking at desalinization and wastewater treatment options that Israel has really benefited from. We had staff members that were over at COP27, which is a lot of the climate action related issues. That's an international drawing. And I believe COP27 was in Saudi Arabia, if I recall correctly, this year. It moves around every year.
It was Egypt, Randy.
Egypt, sorry, you're correct. Kind of close to Saudi Arabia. As well as some upcoming travel that will be occurring by various different board members. So we've resumed our travel schedules fully this year. Carl has been very active in traveling within the United States. He gave a really great presentation to the board regarding the Fire Prevention Summit that him and Director Tom were part of. So great oversight or an overview for the board to see what's happening in the fire world there. Trying to think if there's anything of specific interest to Fire Service Membership Council. Jack, you can feel free to jump in if you can remember anything that we did that would be interested or of interest to the fire service here.
No, Randy, I think you did a great job of covering the things that are going to matter most to the group in that meeting today. So I don't want to jump in any more other than to say that support the work that you're doing and how important these councils are with that vote. And I think moving forward, hopefully we continue to get the same support, but I want to reiterate what Randy said is like, be heard. And that could be one simple document on one simple important matter. And then we know there's a function happening. Of course, Randy and Carl know because they're there in your great discussions and all the work that you do. And also, I just want to say hello, and I hope to join as often as I can and get to know you all better and know the work that you do more. So thanks, Randy. I thought you did a great job.
Thank you, Jack. Unless you guys have any questions, we will be meeting in the spring. I think right now we're scheduled to be in Tampa. We haven't seen anything specific on the schedule yet. So I'm sure that Carl will be working closely with, I think Ron Peaster now has picked up membership councils as far as what this means for you guys for scheduling a spring in-person meeting. But The funding is there, which was the main thing that we wanted to try to preserve in the budget. And we'll let Carl, work with all the other ICC staffers as far as what that looks like for you guys meeting in the spring. Other than that, I got nothing else to report.
Thank you so much, and I'm glad your voice held out. So we really appreciate you being here today and struggling through that. But thank you very much. Very detailed report. I will say that we were interested to hear the actions and discussions that were happening at the board level. So we appreciate that. Director Applegate, thank you very much for being here as well. You're welcome anytime. We do have a place on the agenda for any of the directors that would like to say something. So if you attend, please be aware that I'll be calling on you to speak if you have something to say. If you don't, that's fine as well. Director Boso is also on the meeting this morning or today. So I want to give you an opportunity as well if you'd like to say anything to the group.
Oh, I appreciate that, but I'll say that I support Jack and Randy's message, and Randy did a great job, but I'm just glad to be here and get to listen in with you guys, so thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we will move on. Report from the chair, NA. I'm not sure what that means, Carl, unless that was just a leftover.
Yep,
But-
I think that's an accidental leftover because I don't think you were supposed to be on last month.
Right, I wasn't. Didn't know if you were telling me something without telling me something. So
my apologies. No, it's just to keep you on your toes for elections today. That's all.
Make sure I'm reading the agenda. I don't have much to report outside of the regular business that we're doing on this meeting. I do want to, however, say a special thank you to all of you, the governing committee members, our visitors that come every month and attend and participate in these meetings, our membership council liaisons, everyone that is interested. We consistently have great attendance at these meetings. It is certainly our intention to continue all of the interests that have brought you to this meeting, presentations, training opportunities, things like that. So, but it has been a great honor for me to be able to lead the Fire Service Membership Council this past year. So thank you very much. Personally from me, you've made my work quite easy to be able to represent all of you, and I appreciate all the work that you all have done. So with that, I will turn it over to Tim Diehl as Vice Chair if you have a report.
Well, thank you, Christine. How am I supposed to follow that is my answer. So yeah, I agree with Christine, and I appreciate everything that the membership council, supports us with and helps out in the great attendance. I really don't have much of a report either. I have been working with the building membership and a couple other groups on some projects. So looking forward to continuing that into the next year and have a little bit more on that further on in the agenda. But just wishing everyone to have a safe and happy holiday, and looking forward to the new year.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, next is staff liaison. Carl, you have a report for us.
I do. So greetings to everyone. For those of you who just signed on not too long ago and didn't hear in the beginning, I'm here at our beautiful ICC Washington, D.C. offices. We are kind of in the short term here because we're going to be moving offices coming up in February. We've taken a new space. We're actually downsizing our footprint post-COVID, but we'll be moving only a couple of blocks away, and we're doing a little bit of a build out on the on the new building. So thank you to the board and to our members for supporting that. And it's going to be an absolutely beautiful space, just like this one is. Just we're not taking as much room, and we're trying to be mindful with the dollars. So we'll keep you up to date on when the address changes and any of the other logistical matters that go along with that. But we look forward to welcoming you at our new place anytime that you're in town once we move in there in February. So other than that, I don't have a lot to share. I was going to, based on what Randy and Christine and Jack had talked about, just to maybe put the board presentation up that I gave. It's very short, but it's a good summary. Back in October when we did kind of the early October United States Fire Administrator Summit, and I've got it up here. Let me just go ahead and share my screen really quick and get that on here for you so you can see what I reported to the board here last week for their session. Christine, can you see that all right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, got it. Okay, so here's the board report. This was the event took place on October the 11th at the National Emergency Training Center on the campus of the National Fire Academy. So most, if not all of you, know Dr. Lori Moore Merrill, and what we're talking about here is the United States Fire Administrator Summit on Fire Prevention and Control. So this commemorated the 75th anniversary of President Truman's 1947 conference on fire prevention and control. The big takeaway is that not in 75 years have we done a follow-up as was anticipated and expected, and Lori got it done. So we were all really excited to be able to have her back and help out and support this. So the 47 conference did a couple of things. One, established the United States Fire Administration, but also was kind of the base and beginning of thought around putting together the America Burning Report, which of course I believe was 1972. So there you also see a picture of the U.S. Fire Administration's campus there and the logo for the USFA as well. So there were a number of issues that were discussed. The day was broken up into kind of two pieces. We had a morning session and we had an afternoon session. So during the morning session, there were a number of really good discussions, and you'll see I'll get into in the slides here in a minute, get into like who was there to hear this and who presented. But we had everyone on the stage speaking for the nation's fire service in one voice. So the National Roundtable in the morning really presented 6 different issue areas, of which 2 are super close to the things that we do here. The impact of climate change is obviously a big piece that we're focused on, and really along the lines of the proliferation of wildfire. And then the other piece was the impact of codes and standards, primarily focusing on a lot of the things that we've got in place for life safety, at the forefront being fire sprinklers, and then also talking about smoke alarms, carbon monoxide alarms, and of course, as I said earlier, wildfire. So a number of things that were kind of in our wheelhouse were on the table for this, and we were super excited to see them. So these 6 issue papers that you see in front, and I've got I have a QR code in the back as well as a link to the video from the event. You'll be able to go there and download these issue papers and take a look at them, but those are the 2 that you'll want to focus on. The intent behind the issue papers is now we have work groups broken up to create action, and the action will be driven both to and through the Congressional Fire Services Institute, or CFSI, for legislative action on the Hill, and then also through the executive branch for policy through the United States Fire Administrator's Office and through FEMA. So that's pretty exciting. On the right-hand side, you'll see some familiar faces there. Obviously, I'm there on the left. Chief Tanya Hoover, who is the Deputy U.S. Fire Administrator. Many, if not all of you, know and care deeply for Tanya. She was a very gracious host up there. And then, of course, ICC current Vice President Stuart Tom to her left on the right of the photo there, right before the National Roundtable started. So we had a great time up there. The next slide that you see here too is a little bit to talk about who was there, right? So the fire administrator, Dr. Laura Moore Merrill, convened senior government officials from across government. And the key here, as I said earlier, the takeaway is, fire service leaders speaking with one voice regarding the nation's fire problem. So in terms of who was there of importance that morning to hear this message, DHS Secretary Mayorkas was there, Deputy Secretary Tien was there from DC. You can see Secretary Mayorkas above joined us by video. He was actually, I believe, out of the country, but still joined us early. FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell, who you see in both photos, and then also Deputy Homeland Security Advisor Caitlin Durkovich, who's with the National Security Council at the White House. So we had some heavy hitters, and folks were listening. So pretty exciting time to be there. And that really covered the national roundtable. So in terms of folks that were on the stage there, we had representation. There's General Secretary Ed Kelly from the IAFF. We had Dr. Laura Moore Merrill, of course, representing the Fallen Firefighters Foundation was former U.S. Fire Administrator and Chief Ernie Mitchell, and then Jim Pauley, the executive, the president of the National Fire Protection Association, did a spectacular job representing codes and standards development organizations, including the ICC. So I really got to give him props that it wasn't just kind of an NFPA piece. It really was widespread standards development organizations and codes development organizations wide, and did a great job of representing our interests there. Shifting into the afternoon session, you'll see that there is a piece here that was called the State of Science. So that was where I got to present. We did 10-minute presentations on a number of different things, and you'll see in a minute who the State of Science speakers were. But really the catalyst for this were the two fires that took place in the city of Philadelphia and the city of New York earlier this year that resulted in pretty significant loss of life. So on the left-hand side, Commissioner Adam Diehl from the city of Philadelphia Fire Department, he spoke on fire's impact on communities, including the Philadelphia fire that claimed, I believe, 13 lives just after the beginning of the year this year. And then on the right-hand side, you see Deputy Assistant Chief Frank Lieb from the FDNY, who spoke, of course, to the Twin Parks West fire, which he was the citywide tour commander and the also the incident commander that day. So both of those presentations kicked us off and were incredibly compelling. So we were glad to have them, and it was certainly an honor to be in such great company there. So this slide shows you a number of folks that were there to present. Again, there will be links to all of those presentations. There's video of all of them too. My name is in there in the middle, but I mean, it's a great crowd to be with. Several doctors, several metropolitan fire chiefs there, commissioners, and folks that are just pivotal in being able to move the nation's fire service forward. So it was a great honor on behalf of ICC to have been selected to present there. So a quick slide here of just what my presentation was. It was in the State of Science in the afternoon, and I presented along with on a panel with Michelle Steinberg and let me try to remember who it was. It was Rick Swan from retired from the he represents the IAFF, but retired from the fire service. And we were talking about climate change impact on the fire service, specifically on wildland urban interface fires. So my presentation was wildland urban interface codes and standards. So that went really well. Got some great feedback on that, and I thought our panel went really well. But we kind of had to hurry it up a little bit because we had an important guest that joined us. So as you see here, the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden, joined us from the White House. We were hoping he'd be able to join in person, but due to a number of issues that were happening and foreign policy issues that were taking precedent the day we were there, he was unable to join us, but did come on from the White House. So you see these two pictures. You'll see on the right side of the first picture, you see the video of us at the the NETC campus there. And the president has always been a great friend and champion of the fire service. And then this is a picture that I took from only a few rows back where we were staging as speakers, and that's kind of what it looked like for us on the other end. And Dr. Lori Moore-Merrill there at the podium introducing and interacting with the president. So it was a great day. A couple of pictures here to just finish things out. So that's, of course, myself, Dr. Lori Moore-Merrill, and then Dr. Steve Kerber from UL's Fire Safety Research Institute. So it was a really great day to be there. This is just a compilation of pictures of the left side is the State of Science crew that presented, as well as some of the morning speakers. I believe we're only shy maybe a few on that left side. So that's literally all of the people that took the stage that day. And then on the right-hand side is everyone, including all of the staff support from the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation and the many other organizations from across the country that came together to bring this to fruition. So myself and Vice President Tom are both in that picture. And then finally, I'll leave you with, we did a second day there. It really was rolling up our sleeves and getting to work on the nation's fire service agenda. So the idea was there is that the 6 pieces and issues that were addressed in the morning portion of day 1, we got to work on those and started to shape those right out of the gate on day 2, and are continuing our work virtually here over the next couple of months to shape those up and move them forward. So for any of you that would like this will also be included with the minutes, but if you'd like to just take a second and use the camera on your phone to scan the QR code, you're welcome to do that on the screen while I've got it up. And then also distributed in the minutes are the link that you'll see below to YouTube. That's also included. You can drive to that through the QR code that's on there, and take a look at all of the materials and all the presentations that were there. And it's definitely worth a watch. I know Christine's watched it and a few others have as well too. Last slide here is Summit sponsor. So you can see NFPA was really the premier sponsor to the foundation to make this happen. But of note that we were the ICC was a significant supporter of this, and that will go down in the record that we were there to support this landmark event. So that's all I have on this, and I'll take any of your questions or give it back to Christine from here.
Great. Any questions for Carl? I will say, for those of you who may not have seen it yet, highly recommend it. It's a long summit, as I would expect it to be, so you could watch it in pieces. I did watch it live streamed, but it was informative, engaging, educational, every presenter. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you doing that. U.S. Fire Administrator even said that this was a momentous occasion and event. So I can't agree more. So for those of you that did see it, I hope you walked away with some good information, and I know it re-energized me to what more we can do to help the fire service. So thank you very much for presenting that, Carl. All right, next item is the Membership Council Officer and Liaisons. Building Membership Council Liaison Tom Allen. Hi there. We can't hear you. Right. I thought you kind of came up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yay. Okay. Wonderful technical difficulty. Always happy to be able to attend, and not quite the same as seeing everybody in full size like we had at the conference, but always good to attend. Building Membership Council's next meeting will be January 11th at 3 to 4:30 and Eastern Standard Time. And other than that, I don't have a lot to report to you all from the Building Membership Council.
Great, thank you for being here. Continuity and Outreach Subcommittee, Tim Diehl.
Yes, we're in the process of going through. We're waiting for a few membership councils to come back with the new elected officers, so there may be some changes. We will be having our first meeting in February to start going through and getting not only the matrix re-energized and updated, but also a couple other initiatives that this group has taken on that I will keep you all advised on. But yeah, we'll have our next meeting with all the liaisons in February.
Great, thank you very much. Next, Global Membership Council, Ralph.
Hello, everybody. Our joint webinar had just became official. I just received the invite from ICC. It is scheduled January the 17th from noon to 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. Right now we are working on offering CEUs, just another benefit to the education. So the CEUs has to be offered by a local chapter. So DC chapter, they already have the CEU credential. So we're working with them to offer CEUs. We want to see that, obviously we want to recruit additional members, and if the CEU or the webinars, both of them worked out, we're hoping that, we could capitalize the CEUs in the future. That's all I have.
Great, thank you very much. Is there any other membership council representative that would like to say a few words to this group? All righty. And then not completely on the agenda, but Beth Tubbs, Robert Marshall, do you have anything that you'd like to share from FCAC?
Robert, if you want to go and kind of explain where we're at, I'm working on our minutes from our last meeting on the 5th right now.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Beth. And thanks, Christine, for the opportunity to talk. So I'm Robert. I thought maybe I accidentally muted myself. Anyway, Robert Marshall. I am the chair. Yeah, well, yeah, you're not going to get that lucky. But anyway, I'm the chair of the Fire Code Action Committee. We had kind of our last meeting a couple weeks ago. We had our last meeting with the current council, or with the current committee rather, and started talking about with the members who are leaving, as well as the members, or talking about members who may be coming on, and started to kind of get together a list of the things that we think that we need to probably take a look at. A lot of things that we did in the last cycle were very good. We had a lot of things regarding, doing the alternate means requests and 104.9 in the codes, in all of the codes, in fact, looking at things like carbon monoxide and some of the changes that we know need to occur there, and then some other things that we know are going to be coming up. Obviously, our work with energy storage systems isn't done. I know Randy talked about that at the beginning of the meeting, and then we've talked about some new topics as well. We are looking at potentially taking some action on a lot of the hazmat chapters, because a lot of them haven't really been looked at as a whole in a long time. Starting to look at where we need to do things like integration of the global harmonization standard and things of that nature. So a lot of work that we're going to be doing. And of course, if anybody has anything that they think that the FCAC could possibly take up that is a fire-related issue that is subject to the FCAC stuff, please let us know. We're happy to take on those things. And we can always, I know that the being on FCAC as an official committee member, that opportunity has already closed, but we always have the opportunity for interested parties to attend those things. And we do a lot of work with interesting parties. I know I saw Jeff Shapiro on earlier. I think he's still on, but he's a great example of somebody who contributes a lot to FCAC, and we do a lot of things with him. Kevin Scott is another one. So anyway, just thank you again for the opportunity, Christine, and don't listen to anything that Carl says.
Great, thank you very much. Beth, did you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I think, as Robert said, we were just sort of wrapping things up and kind of taking the best notes of what should happen, potentially look at for priorities next year. We have quite the long list that we've created so far, but it will really start up. I mean, and we're trying to communicate on a regular basis too with FCAC and interested parties about the new process. When, the next FCAC or all the CACs will be kind of like a 3.5 year appointment because we've changed the meeting. We'll have that public comment in the third year, which we didn't have before. But yeah, I'll be getting the minutes out hopefully pretty soon. Everything keeps getting my way lately, so but they should be done soon.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you for all the reports. It was very informative. Item number.
I had a question for Robert before you left.
Sure.
I wanted to know from Robert if this was the typical attire that he was in when he chairs the FCAC meeting, or if he is maybe a little more conservative than this.
No, that's actually pretty good. Although you missed the wig that I was wearing.
Okay, so item number 5, ongoing business. We don't have any ongoing business. Moving to item number 6. Carl, would you be able to introduce this item?
Sure. Let me just see. I was getting back. I had to make sure that I tucked that picture away in a safe place so that it wasn't hacked at some point. That's a keeper. Yeah, so over the last couple of months, we've been talking to you about elections for calendar year 2023 and Fire Service Membership Council Chair and Vice Chair. So Marshal Desrochers and I have taken on the administrative activity around that in terms of soliciting the nominations, and then the nominations committee has heard those nominations and made a report back to the council. So with that, I will send it over to Marshal Desrochers for a report from the nominating committee.
All right, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
this
sir.
is important business here. So what I'll do is I'll just read the report. The Fire Service Membership Council's nomination committee received 2 letters of interest for the vacant chair and vice chair positions. Christine Reed to serve another term as Fire Service Membership Council Chair, and Tim Diehl to serve another term as Vice Chair of the Fire Service Membership Council. The committee members reviewed the letters of interest and unanimously recommend Christine Reed to be elected for another term as Chair, and Tim Diehl be re-elected to serve as Vice Chair. And the nomination committee consisted of myself representing Wassom, Andy King representing the IFC, and Mark Wassom representing ICC. And I'd also like to thank Andy and Mark for helping me out with this. So since Christine and Tim are the ones being nominated here, I would ask if there are any nominations from the floor. Are there any nominations from the floor? Are there any nominations from the floor?
Move to close nominations.
All right, do we have a motion to accept Christine Reed as the chair and Tim Diehl as vice chair?
I'll motion to accept Christine Reed as the chair and Tim Diehl as the vice chair. This is Doug Nelson.
And do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have Randy Metz seconding that. Hearing no other nominations, we can take a vote on this. Those in favor signify by saying yay.
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 Those opposed signify by saying nay. Hearing no opposition, congratulations, Christine and Tim. You'll both be serving another year in this great leadership capacity.
Great. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, everyone. Again, it has been very rewarding for myself and working with Tim and Carl. So we look forward to another year of serving all of you, serving the membership, and moving FSMC further along. So thank you for that. And thank you to the nominating committee for the work that you did. It kind of comes back very quickly. So it's, it's a quick turnaround. So we appreciate your time. Great. All right. Next item is our next meeting is Thursday, January 19th at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. Now we'll move on to questions or comments from the audience. And this is an opportunity for anyone on the meeting to use the raised hand option if you would like to say anything, ask a question, feel free. So I'm going to be looking at my screen to see if we have any hands raised. Yes, Tim Diehl.
Yeah, I just want to say it out there. Thank you again. I appreciate the opportunity to be going forward, but I also want to make a little shout out to one of our members who is leaving the ICC. He's actually retiring after 36 years, and I know John's going to hate me for it, but that's all right. I'll take him to lunch later on, and then we're on the county somewhere or over on the Eastern Shore. But I just want to say congratulations to John Lane, retiring after 36 plus years from Anne Arundel, going to Queen Anne, so across the bay, but still close enough that I can harass him.
Great.
Thank you, John.
Thanks a lot, Tim.
Yes, thank you, John, for your participation on FSMC, and good luck in your retirement.
Thank
All
you.
right. Any other hands raised? Not seeing anything. So with that, thank you again for attending. I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Doug Donaldson.
Second.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Merry
In
Christmas.
your celebrations. Please be safe, and we'll look forward to seeing you in January. All right. Take care, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
See you later.